Welcome back for another week of the Rush the Barricade podcast. I'm your host, the Shotgun Stevie Spencer. Let's go ahead and get it started.
Yeah. I've been on a deep dive through the outer waves. I took a rocket to the edges of my brain space. I told command that I just need a little getaway. Then buckled in and threw the throttle to a race pace. Take me further, take me farther, daughter, please understand. I could not stand still any longer.
Welcome back, boys and girls. Another fine week of Dynamite this week, AEW. I did actually get to go to this show this week, so it was really nice to be able to do that again. I'm very fortunate. This week we saw 3 matches on Dark again, which was a little bit out of the ordinary from previous Dynamites we've had in the past. This week it was the team of Top Flight, which you may know as Airwolf and Dante Martin from Creative Pro Wrestling, versus Stu Grayson and Evil Uno of the Dark Order. Again, I'm not going to divulge what the outcomes were. You'll be able to see that Tuesday coming up on AEW Dark on YouTube. Second match of the night was VSK versus Ricky Starks, and then Lee Johnson versus Matt Sydal. Definitely hope you go and watch that match. Then we go in and get into the actual show. First match of the night, we see Jungle Boy versus Wardlow for the World Title Eliminator. In this case, Wardlow won, just completely throwing Jungle Boy around. I mean, for a guy who weighs in at, I think he said 267, it's something that you expect to see. Even though you want to see Jungle Boy get that push, it's not going to be against Wardlow. Sorry. Next match of the night, we had Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston's promo for the end of the podcast. So if you remember last week when I showed you what happened once AEW went off air, they actually showed that portion. It was still videotaped, which is great. I know I was championing last time for them to actually show that, as it definitely helps Eddie Kingston get over. At that point, we didn't know that Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley were going to be, that was going to evolve into anything. And then here it is. We're finally going to see them at Full Gear, which gets announced later on in the show in an I Quit match. Then we see the promo by Moxley, which is, just kind of the harkening back of, the culmination of what happened. Then we see Kenny versus Sonny Kiss. So, funny thing about this, anybody who was watching last week knows that Kenny versus Joey Janela was actually the match that was announced. However, we end up getting Kenny versus Sonny Kiss. Not that that's anything bad. I definitely like Sonny Kiss as a competitor, but there was a little bit behind that I'm not sure they went over on commentary, as I haven't seen the taping yet. Joey Janela actually was into wrestling. He was in an indie event and wrestled AJ Gray, who recently tested positive for COVID-19. So obviously, for precautions there, they chose to pull him off, and obviously it was easier to go ahead and switch to Sonny Kiss, who would have been, has recently been Joey Janela's tag team partner. Anybody who watched that match, I'm pretty sure that clocked the record for the fastest match in Dynamite to date. As Kenny Omega comes right out of the gate, hits him with a V-trigger, and then boom, right into the one-winged angel for the 1-2-3. I'm not sure if this match was meant to solidify Kenny as the cleaner again, as the entrance he had was alluding to that, but it definitely... I don't think it diminished Sonny Kiss's character at all, as is, it's one of those things where even he took to Twitter and said, you win some, you lose some. So definitely taking the angle of, yep, Kenny slipped one by me was definitely the way to go to put both people over and still solidify them as baby faces. Keep them as baby faces, which I think that's what they're trying to do with Kenny right now. They may try a cleaner type angle where he may go heel in the future, which is possibly going to culminate in the future for Kenny versus Hangman Page, which we hope to see. We all hope to see that. Then we get into a couple promos. First, it's Shivani and Orange Cassidy talking about the match coming up for the new TNT Championship, Orange Cassidy versus Cody 2. Then we get into a shot of Double A getting out of the car and then talking to Cody, Dasha talking to them, also talking about the match and also saying that it's going to be Champion's Advantage, which turns out later on the show is announced as a lumberjack match, which I'm really excited about. And then we get into another intro/promo by Eddie Kingston, which is kind of this back and forth throughout the whole show between Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Then eventually we have the next match. It's going to be Pentagon Jr. versus Rey Fenix, which is definitely something that's excited to see. Both two world-renowned luchadors going at it in the ring, but also two people who were previously in a tag team together that we we thought they would have been friends, which as the match evolves, at the very beginning we see a high spot. Well, I put it down as a high spot. Was the tense standoff between Rey Fenix and Pentagon. So we knew that this is going to be an absolute barn burner of a match. And it was. It turned out to be such. During the match, I actually took to Twitter and sent out this tweet. This is where I think it's going to go. This is where I think is going to happen. A lot of new heel factions don't normally, or stables, whatever you want to call it, don't normally work out that well. Not as well as the Inner Circle has up to date yet. I think the family, is what we're going to call them, is going to end up imploding on itself. I don't think it's going to be because Butcher and Blade or Bunny. I think it's going to end up being because of Pentagon and Rey Fenix, which we both know now they are both obviously going to be a little bit better as singles competitors as they were in Lucha Underground. Another high spot in that match also was that beautiful backflip superplex off the top rope. So definitely something to go back and watch if you haven't done it yet. Next we have another promo, this time by, it's going to be for the Best Friends versus Miro and Kip Sabian match. This is one of the promos, one of many promos in this show that took place that are hyping up the next pay-per-view at Full Gear on November 7th. And then we go into a vignette by the Dark Order with Colt Cabana with 3 and 4, John Silver and Alex Reynolds at ringside. Not much to say there other than I knew from last week that there was going to be a little bit more Dark Order involvement, and we're starting to see that build going into Full Gear. Next up, we had the beautiful match by Hangman Page and Colt Cabana. Let's go ahead and watch that beautiful entrance. Oh, it's so good. A little biased, sorry. And, of course, that match ended the way we all thought it would. Buckshot Lariat into the 1-2-3 for Hangman Page's getting the win. Next up, we have the vignette that shows Sammy and Matt Hardy, which is, again, great to see that again, pushing that forward. It's not the go-home show yet, but they are showing it and building that storyline back up just to reignite those flames into Full Gear. And this time it's going to be a new match between the both of them with a different stipulation. I'm hoping we get to see that at the Hardy compound, because at the end we did see a picture of Matt Hardy's house burning. So that's where I think that's going to go. Mark my words on that one. Next we see the Team Taz promo. They're coming out and talking about two different points. Taz is talking about Brian Cage and Will Hobbs, which that may end up being something. And then also, of course, the feud between Ricky Starks and Darby Allin, showing that that's not over yet. Hopefully that leads into something else. We know that Darby Allin is going to be challenging for the title coming up soon, so maybe he's not going to be doing that at Full Gear, but maybe the next pay-per-view after that, or maybe even one of these specialty shows they've been showing here lately on Dynamite. They may have a different name for it, kind of like a Halloween Havoc of sorts. We'll see. Then we get into Le Dinner Debonair. If you haven't seen this or you don't know what I'm talking about, please Google it. Go to Twitter, go to any social media platform and type it in. This was beautiful. It started out and played out how we thought it would, especially with the temperature on the steaks starting out well done, and then them trying to put each other over, going back all the way to Jericho saying, "I want it blued." And then them getting the steaks in the end and being like, "Can't eat this, sorry." Which, in my opinion, if you eat one below medium, you're kind of a psychopath. Anyway, hot take. Sorry about that. But definitely, it was beautiful seeing them singing "My Shadow and Me," singing a rendition of that. And if you go back and listen to the lyrics, it's just hilarity. It's gold. Only the way that MJF and Chris Jericho can do. Next, we see Britt Baker in action against Killing King. Almost her re-debut back on Dynamite. Of course, she locks in the submission and gets the 1-2-3 there pretty easily after Killing taps out. Then we see Steve-O and Darby Allin doing the body bag drop-in, which I don't know how or why this was done other than it just solidifies Darby Allin as someone who's reckless, which is part of his gimmick, his moniker. That's fine. But I'm not sure it did anything to help his character other than just seeing him drop in on a quarter pipe and just being amazed by what he did. I really hope that nothing got hurt or injured there, because if that had happened, it really sidetracked a lot of the push that Darby Allin's getting right now. Finally, for our main event, we see the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match between the Butcher and the Blade, accompanied with the Bunny again. Dark Order members 3 and 4. Private Party with Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, accompanied with Matt Hardy. And then the Young Bucks with their entrance here.
The Young Bucks.
Love seeing those dollar bills shooting out. I want to try to get some sometime and just have those, just because why not? I definitely think it's something they could do for merch, is just sell a stack of Young Bucks. Anyway, this match was chock full of high spots. Obviously, with this many contenders, you're going to see spots left and right. Then you got the inside cradle for the W. The Young Bucks win against Private Party. And then you see a masked assailant coming in from outside of the ring with a chair. He's slapping the Young Bucks around. You don't know really what happened. You see the FTR use their move at the very end. This person, you don't know who it is. And then they pull down their mask, and it turns out to be Tully Blanchard. I was marking out because obviously it was good to see what I thought was the third member of FTR at one point. But it turned out to be Tully Blanchard. But it was good to see him in the ring, getting a little bit of piece of the action. In the past weeks, we've seen Art Anderson dropping spine busters, putting the spine on the pine, as JR would say. It's good to see both members of the Brain Busters still showing the young ones that they still got it. You know, people at home that appreciate it. It's definitely nice to see. Then we see Dax Hardwood jumping off the top rope onto Matt Jackson's leg, which was bear trapped into a chair. I call it bear trapped. It was clamped in there to obviously inflict an injury on his ankle, and then him being hobbled out of the ring later on. I hope this doesn't sidetrack any plans going into Full Gear. I hope we still see FTR versus the Young Bucks. I hope this doesn't push that away from us anymore, because it's going to be the dream match. Hey, there's shirts already being printed with it on there. I hope all this did was just help solidify FTR more as a heel and see them beating up on a babyface, or what we perceive as a babyface now at this time, because the Young Bucks have been back and forth a little bit here lately with their super kicking people backstage and getting fined and paying for it. But we'll see. It remains to be seen. I hope that, again, it doesn't sidetrack anything. And then lastly, at the end of the night, we see Tony Khan coming out thanking the fans and everyone, just like he always does. And then we see this familiar character.
We finally gave you a chance to sing Judas. And I totally forgot that I was doing this, so I'm not even wearing shoes. We got no socks on. Did you guys have fun tonight? What a great show that was. It's a great show every week here at Dynamite, that's for sure, right? We're so excited and so happy that you guys keep coming to join us every single week here in Daly's Place. I don't know how many are here from Jacksonville or from we got some riots in the crowd now? All right, well, we'll try this then. Who is here from Jacksonville?
Right here, baby!
Woo! You're not supposed to say anything if you're not from here. Oh, wait, are we guys saying Duval? Okay, so who's not from Jacksonville? Okay, it's not bad. It's not bad. Well, we hope you guys keep coming and hanging out with us. We're here every week, ticket waiters and waitresses trying to veal. Did you guys like the dinner debonair tonight?
Yeah.
If you only knew what we went through to get that up on air, basically we had that ready to go about 22 minutes before it aired, and we filmed last night until about 2 a.m. So you never know what's going to happen on live TV, but you buckle up, you get the job done, you put on a great show, and make sure that you guys always have fun, right? Hopefully we see you next week and the week after that. I gotta get off these ropes because my stocking feet are killing me. But thank you guys so much for coming. We'll see you again soon. All right?
All in all, it was a great show. I give the show an A+, from my point of view. Being there live definitely has something more to say than it does watching on a recording. Next week's show is going to be taped, and then the show after that's going to be live. We'll try to get into that on November 4th, and then also on Full Gear on November 7th. It was definitely a show that I had lowered expectations for. That I thought it was going to be a B-, B in the middle show. But the vignettes and promos, I'm going to give it an A+. I definitely think that everybody just really worked their ass off tonight, even though some of the finishes, like the Kenny and Sonny Kiss match was a little off, but if you really see the meaning behind it and also people's attitudes behind it, the wrestlers themselves, it works out. I love it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I earned your like and comments and subscriptions, whatever. I love hearing the feedback, and I love hearing the sounding off. So be sure to do that for me, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching.
Whoo! Yeah.